Have I been down here so long? Is the madness so great that I see the faces of the damned before me? Or is it really you? It is! By the tome! Come closer. Let me look at you. It has been an eternity since I've seen a trusted face. Are you? In many ways, your awakening has brought me nothing but misery. But that is not your fault. I am to blame for all of it. Wait. Do you hear that sound? It could be the Sons of Laz, but it could be someone else.
I'll enjoy this. The last we spoke, it was the Tuatha that reduced my lab to cinders. Now it's assassins. Everywhere I go, destruction follows. I have grown so weary of it, my friend. All I ever wanted was to unlock death's secrets, to shed light on the shadows. I never wanted this. Thank you for more than just your protection, for being the one good thing to come of this disaster. I have few friends, but I gladly count you among them. You must be mistaken. I've tried to contact him ever since I fled Alistar, but he never replied. Until now. Octien. Of course. When all the facts are considered, the truth will emerge. I am a fool! Octien has sent you to search for me. To have us killed together. Those assassins are proof of this. The Well of Souls is his project. Once it was functioning, he no longer needed me. Not if he could salvage the well in Alistar with Ventrinio's help. Ventrinio de Selene. We used to work together in this lab on projects sponsored by Templar Octien. But when we were tasked with creating the well, Ventrinio sought to use any means at our disposal, regardless of the implications or consequences. Eventually, he was taken away, and I was sent to work at Alistar. But it seems he continued his work here, long enough to create those monsters. They are the animated dead, early experiments in the field of immortality. They will forever haunt these cursed caverns. Ventrinio named them after a mythical figure who rose from the dead. He looked on them and saw potential. I see only abominations. No, not me. But Ventrinio's old notes suggest that he may know a way into Alabastra. I wonder, perhaps, is it possible that you have met Ventrinio already? That would explain it. You were attuned to his well, but raised from mine. Unfortunately, the only way to find Ventrinio is to go through Templar Octien, which will not be easy now that we know of his treachery. Never. The only voice he wishes to hear is his own. We cannot deal with Octien within the boundaries of Edessa. Not alone. There is one who has the power to discredit him. Templar Joriel. She is reputed for her wisdom and strength of character.
And as I recall, she and Octien do not exactly see eye to eye on matters of policy. If Joriel can make Octien answer for his crimes, then we will gain access to his information. That includes the location of Ventrinio's lab. If you wish to uncover the mystery of your death, then you will need Ventrinio. He is the key to Alabastra. Find Templar Joriel in Odessa. We don't have much evidence, but I have a feeling she will help us. Ah, Odessa. The great gnomish city-state. Knowledge, reason, and logic rule there, as do bureaucracy and intrigue. A clever gnome can go far in that city, and a wise gnome goes far away from it. I am Fomerus Hughes, scholar of vivification, prime circle. The Well of Souls was my life's work. It's everything I've been able to put together concerning Templar Etienne's crimes, with supporting evidence from Ventrinio's notes and correspondence. I always suspected I might need leverage over Octien. It seems Ventrinio felt the same. You must remember to thank him for me. The Templars rule from the Forum, and you can't get a thing done in the city without the sponsorship of one of them. They can be powerful allies, but the one thing you don't want to do is get on their bad side. My old colleague, Ventrinio Desilini. For a time we worked together under Templar Octien. He was a brilliant scholar, but a terrible person. I told Octien he couldn't be trusted and refused to work with him, but it appears the Templars simply moved him to another lab with some mysterious assistant. Ventrinio's notes reference some highly capable assistants that joined him in testing the well and collecting Prismia, but there's no mention of their identity. Whoever they are, they're clever, resourceful, and very dangerous. If we could find them, we might have a lead, or even a way into Alabastra. Oh, don't call it that. You're just having a talk with Octien in the library. In return for your discretion, he'll give us what we want. I know it's unpleasant, but when you work with the Templars, you just start thinking this way. It helps you stay alive.
I know you. The breaking of the siege, am I right? Well, you're army then, and so you're welcome and how dull they aren't. I gave my captain back chalk once, just once. And what do I get? 3 months guard duty, day and night. Heard tell of it all here. That Baylor smashing towers and the spear, and you right in the midst of it, eh? Was it truly twice as tall as a mountain? That's the least of the stories I heard told of it. This here's our base, barracks and storehouse west of the Forian Strait. It played a bigger role back when the war raged where you and I stand now, but that was near on 10 years back. It's a privilege to wear the steel helm. All who do should be proud. That's right, you're allowed.
Warsworn! What brings you here?
So, you got in old Doveyan then? I hope it wasn't much trouble. Were you able to recover my arms? The staff wasn't rotted through, was it? That's it! No mistaking this old piece of wood. I feel braver just holding it in my hands. And the talisman? Did you find it in its place? Ah, wonderful! I couldn't say how many blades and arrows this saved my family from. I'll feel safer with it on my arm, all the same. Here, have this for your troubles. And Lyria guard us both.
My assistant has returned. What do you need of me? Stay safe.
Aina, the mediator of earth and sky, came from a shadow. She beheld the suffering desert and swooped down into the hollow lands. Her feathers shaded the scorching skies. Her wings pulled the rolling air. Her tears fell to the dust, where rivers were born. gentle plumes. As life returned to the burnt expanse, the people crawled from their caves and saw a majestic silhouette against the open sky. They praised Saina and worshipped her likeness. She replied with a call that still echoes on the wind. Heard the call, and looking down upon the desert, grew irritated. His mighty works were undone, and his brilliance spurned. He called Freka to his side, and implored the fiery god to strike Saina from the skies. Freka agreed, but as Saina was too strong, he asked Helios to lend him some of his fire as well. So Helios gave Freka the flames of the sun. Fire from the heavens struck Saina, and her plumage burst into flames. She flew high to cool her feathers and dove to extinguish the fires. Still nothing would cease the burning, and she knew that she was doomed. So she absorbed as much of the heat as fire as she could and fell dead to the earth. Now, she will rise again if life is threatened in the heart.
Unknown to Tyrion's tired pilgrims lumbered in the plains. Laboured grunts trumpeted the call of brutish Jotun, the giant kin of old. The hammer-wielders, in grievous march they trampled wood and tumbled stone. The fleshy weight of steps crushed the bones of warriors past. Helluin's legion spread too thin. Beala's prayers went unanswered, and fear of death came too
He only needed one name. The Carver, like the wind, or the lightning, or the dawn. With his presence, a new age began. The kings of the south stood. They were the lords of the desert sea.
Normally, I'd advise you to take a leap off that ledge, but at the moment, I find myself in need of aid. Don't think you'll get anything out of it, though. I certainly won't teach you anything. An old man who's had his fill of the world. Once in a while, some fool comes to plead on bended knee for lessons. Bah! If you don't know, there's no use telling it. It possesses a certain remarkable beauty that is hard to appreciate with a wounded leg. Damned kobolds is what. Poison spear to my leg and it's begun to fester. There are things for it, easy to gather myself. If I could walk. Foul stuff. I never touch it. The natural course of healing's best, if you ask me. I'd be grateful, but don't expect any wisdom or a fine-crafted gift. Hermits have little to give. I'll need spider sack ichor, fenrac from the canyon below, and grist from a Jotun's cookpot. Can you get me those? Before the gnomes opened up that damned mine, wasn't a single one in Menethir. Meddlers, that's what they are. Always think they know best, but they never do. Believe me. Off in the southeast among the hills, overrun now with those spear-hefting overgrown cats. I'd keep my distance if I were you. Ah, some spider sack ichor, fen... Oh. Oh.
First, he made the river in the Ark of the Great Snake. When that grew tedious, he turned his attention to the cliffs. Prince of Spring raised his sword towards the breaking dawn, and he called down the glory of the newborn morning. Issa bequeathed to the land the talisman of fate. With its power, the earth rose to defend the birthplace of light, our cradle of sun. So the great cycle swathed Own of the Thulian dusk in the arcane veil, and Issa planted the gardens after the storm, and nurtured the court of summer by the ruins of fire.
The carver made by the morning what takes the cycles centuries to shape. He bored holes in the red marches and chiseled the spine in the Ulcerung. Echoes rang through the canyons of Menethir. He gouged the hollow lands and then left it barren. Finally, the carver rested. He grew a mountain crowned with clouds by the river, and leaned against its side to sleep. Ages passed, and the sand settled into his work, and all the land was still.
Greetings! What, you surely ask, is such a well-heeled Praetorian doing here among the dust and brambles? Removing the tarnish for my name and solving the Jotun problem. Their keep is hard to miss. It sits on Menethir like an Etin on a pile of bones. Grand to behold, but lousy with Jotun and spiders and gods know what else. Makes me think the Warsworn put their blasted keep here out of sheer bloody spite. We'll never know if the mine collapsed because of the kobolds, or if the kobolds got in because of the collapse. Either way, it's theirs now. Overlooked. Ignored. Once I've settled this Jotun problem, my Praetorian friends will be humming a different tune. I am, you see, ranked Decanus. That is above Auxiliary, where I serve my time, and beneath Centurion, which is where I belong. The old Ragnar has died, and his successor is stirring the embers of war. But he's too clever to openly provoke the Warsworn, so he's attacking gnomes instead. That will not stand. I have a plan to settle this, but it requires someone of both delicacy and grit. Priest, apothecary, and spiritual guide to Jotunkind. The old Ragnar ruled all the Jotun in these heights and the mountains beyond. If this upstart stirs all of them to war, things could go badly for everyone. Yes, I think you do. First, we must find some new and better enemies for the Jotun. Go into Tyrscotter Mine, southeast of here, and steal the clan totem from the kobolds that dwell there. Then return to me. There's a good deal to be said about them. None of it nice. You hear tales now and then of Jotun guards and Jotun soldiers. I'll believe that when I see it. Brutes! Tyrscotter Mine is full of the little filchers. If you ask me, they're worse than the Jotun. It seems the old Ragnar had some wisdom in that slab of a skull. Kept a shrewd balance between infighting and angering his neighbors. But now he's dead, and the new Ragnar fancies the warpath. But that won't be good for anyone. To reclaim it, the kobolds will fight to the death. And as for the Jotun, well, one thing at a time. Tyrscotter Mine cuts into the hills of southeastern Menethir. I don't know where in the mine the clan totem is kept, but it is there.
That day, the carver woke to find his touch run dry. The wellspring of his power dead as dust at the source. He heard then the first whisper, The first mention. Mortals.
The heat's as deadly as the Jotun and the spiders.
You are expected.
I'm quartermaster here. Tell me what you need and I'll see what I can do.
My poor old master had but one dying wish, that his prized blade, the one on the wall, be mended. Some days I dream that I'll do it myself. Then I remember, I'm a poor untrained apprentice who can barely forge a soup spoon. Master Braskin took me in, being an orphan and found by the war sworn and all. He let me live here, began to train me in the craft. Been good to me since the day they found me, tucked in among stolen sacks of grain. Dinwell's his name. Word has it he grew bitter of all mortal kind at the start of the war. But I wouldn't know. I've never talked to him. Well, don't expect anything remarkable, or even decent. Show me what's broken, and I'll see what I can do. Which isn't much. Master Braskin, yes. I'd endure every drunken lashing anew if it meant I could learn blacksmithing right and proper. Why, that's Haldabeer's blade. It's famous, from the Fey Wars. My old master always said he'd fix it right again. Might have, if he'd lived. Now it just hangs on the wall, taunting me, reminding me of all I'm not. In battle, oh, it's a wondrous tale of how Haldabeer slew his foe. I'd tell, but I don't think I could do it justice. Repair the sword? Not likely. There's one man living who can. and he'd rather eat nettles and stare at the sky than raise hammer to anvil. You can find the hermit smith yourself, up in the Menetier Heights. But don't expect much. Really? You have? Don't think you could talk him into mending that blade on the wall, do you? A hero's sword. Like its owner, it fought and died in glory on the battlefield. Just as I'll die miserably behind this forge. If he would mend that blade, I'd be delirious. Were he to stay here and finish my training, but I don't dare to dream so much at once.
Greetings.
Now who's this? I've grown so used to the same few drifters coming in for supplies and the contract board. A fresh face is a welcome thing. I'm the curate of this keep. If you've a contract to turn in, bring it to me. I'll be honest, he's not much of a blacksmith, but he's all we've got at the moment. Poor little lad. Other keeps get their work here and there, high and low. As for us, ever since Odessa was built, we've had one solemn task. Watch the Jotun. Hold them back, hold them south and west of Gnomish lands. The quartermaster to our keep, she stocks all we need to get by out here. Anything you need's found in the smithy. You've got Heki for most things and Gavroche for blacksmithing. We're proud to stand where we do, here among the wilds. First keep and last bastion, the Castellan likes to say. It's right beside me. The work's open to any and all. When a contract's done, they come to me for their pay. That's Oda. She's a good sort, though not a woman of words. When there are open jobs, and there's good proof they've been done, then yes, I do. All right now. Can I help you? Too much sand in the air and old things lying about to ever get this place clean. Oh, you want that contract, do you? Now you guard these ghastly things closely. Mind you, they're not suited for combat. They're for surgery and unnaturally sharp. Oh yes, well you'll need to collect the required number of spider stingers from spiders in Menetier. You won't have much trouble finding them, they're all over, which frankly is exactly the problem. So long.
We see few enough strangers in Ironfast. Welcome.
What have we here?
Sworn to war?
Welcome. This is Ironfast, Warsworn. Here, you will find dust on our helms and scores on our blades. We believe in action above finery and show. If you seek work, supplies, or shelter, they are yours.
We see few enough strangers in Ironfast. Welcome. Polished armor means you haven't used it. Dust, dents, and scars. That's the Ironfast way.
Before I came here, I'd never seen such a thing.
Greetings, mortal. I can smell them on the dry winds. Your eyes may not see the natural decay, but I assure you, it is there. The little meddlers may do their worst. The Hollowlands will endure it and mend the wounds they make. Farewell.
About bloody time. Spider gland for the festering, Fenrak for the pain, and Stugris to keep my strength up. You've done me a good turn, stranger. I live a hermit's life, so have little to give. I hope you'll take this as thanks. You'll get nothing else. Once in a while, some fool comes to plead on... If you don't know, there's no use telling it. What a great and austere beauty it holds. A beauty best enjoyed alone. Oh, what for? Can't imagine what old Braskin can't handle on his own. I still know him. I came to Menethir because of him, the only man in all Amalur I respect. What? He's dead? Then he never mended that sword, and that green apprentice is left alone half-trained. Damn it all, I swore I'd never... But the blade and the apprentice... Apprentice and the blade... It won't do. I must go. Bring me a compound known as Master's Tallow from Hervar's Dorsil, and the sword is yours. I'll be at Ironfast waiting. A rare wax of golden hue, with some remarkable properties regarding metal and flame. It will be needed to mend that sword. He would visit me some nights, and we'd talk of stars and old ways and the blacksmith's craft. He alone never once asked me why I live apart. Hervar's Dorsil by name, just north of the river. A madwoman lived there some years ago. She had perfected the art of making Master's tallow. She's gone, but I think you'll find some tallows remained. Be swift. Now that I've begun, I want to see this finished.
Sworn to war? We see few enough strangers in Ironfast. Welcome.
Ah, there you are. You have the Master's Tallow? Then let's begin. Lords of Iron and Fire, it's good to be back at the forge. Brace yourselves now.
The Hermit Blacksmith is here. Here in the keep.
Behold, Haldebeer's blade, strong and whole. As you made this possible, I insist that you take it. A hero deserves a hero's sword. Now, if you're done gawking, I have a clumsy oath of an apprentice to train. The boy's green as a new blade of grass, but he's got an eye and an arm. He'll learn yet. I swore I'd never take another student, but for you and Gavroche here, I'd make an exception. My work here won't keep me from it. I shall never tire of its open sky or those great red rocks.
If you're traveling, you'll need supplies.
Sworn to war?